Greetings, today on my Focus RS I am installing the boost pipe upgrade from Mountune. Alright, this is what we're playing with then today. 3 pipes. We've got the little one that comes from the turbo that goes into the hard pipe. From the other side of the hard pipe we have this medium sized one which then goes into the intercooler. Then out of the intercooler we have this big one that's sort of like got this big angle on it because that then goes up towards the throttle body. We also have the optional upgraded Jubilee clips, which you might as well do. They're nice quality, they're a bit bigger, thicker, and just will last longer than the stock ones that are on there. So yeah, that is what we're upgrading, and as you can possibly see here, I have the car on my race ramps ready to go. So the first thing we've got to do is get underneath and remove the under tray. So what we want to do is we want to go all the way along the edge of the under tray. We want to remove all of these screws. Now these are T30 Torx, and then there's also several push clips like this, and what we do with that is we're just going to use a little flathead screwdriver to poke those out. So that's that loosened, and then it should just pull out just like that. And then the T30 Torx, like so. So just go around the entire edge and do all of those. Then there are 2 more push clips just right here in the middle. Alright, with all the fixtures removed, then it just slides right off. There we go. Alright, next thing is to remove the hard pipe. So this is obviously the hard pipe. I have the Mountune hard pipe already in, but it's the same process whether you have this or the stock. So what we need to do is we need to release 2 hose clamps, so one on either side, both 7mm sockets, or you can use a little flathead screwdriver if you wish. So there's one there, and then one up there you can see. Then there are also 2 10mm nuts to remove, and then we can wriggle this out of the hose and it will come right out. Okay, now we're ready to remove the other Jubilee clip, and then we can get the silicone hose out. So that's obviously a little bit more up in there, so you will probably need like a little stubby screwdriver or something just to get that off. Alright, so now we grab the smallest of the Mountune hoses, put one of the small Jubilee clips on the end that doesn't have that sort of right angle bend, and that is what we put onto the end of the turbo. Right, so you're just pushing it all the way on. You can just feel it all the way around it until it is right at the very end. You'll know what you're feeling for once you're doing this. So then, yeah, we just push our little Jubilee clip up over the top of that and then clamp it down. Alright, sweet, that is 1 out of 3 in place. So now we can move on to the 2 bigger ones. Alright, the next hose that we're going to do is this one that connects to the other end of the hard pipe, and you can kind of see the Jubilee clip in there that we need to remove. Now that is basically impossible to get to without removing more bits from the car in order to get at that. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this front plastic splash guard. So the first thing we need to do is remove more T30 Torx screws. So we go along this sort of back edge, there's one over yonder, there's one here, and then just go along the edge and remove all those T30 Torx first. So then just right on the edge of the bumper there's another T30, and then there's a little push clip as well, much the same as what we had to remove for the main under tray. Alright, now we're on to the last little clips that we have to remove. Now, they are these little clips that are like a star head, and then the plastic clip is underneath. So what we need to do is we need to release the star, and then they just pop right off. So there's 7 of them, and if you go along here, you don't want to remove the ones that are holding the front splitter on. It's just the ones that are in the blue bits, or grey bits, or whatever colour your car may be. So these here ones, and there are 7, and we just go along the front and remove those all. So now we're going to release that splash guard from the outside of the bumper. So just kind of pry it out and down like that, so that's it released, and then do that on the other side too. Alright, so in theory now, our splash guard should just slide out from the front. There we go. Alright, so this is the boost pipe that we are doing next, as you can see. And now with the splash panel removed, we have excellent access to get to that Jubilee clip and the end of the intercooler here, as you can see. So yeah, it's going to be the same size, either 7mm little socket or a flathead screwdriver. So yeah, let's get that out and get our Mountune one put in. Alright, cool, we are nice and loose now. So this hose can just be removed now, so sweet. Alright, so this is obviously the Mountune pipe that's going in. Now what we need to note with the replacement Jubilee clips, if you're doing them, is there's two different sizes of the big ones. Obviously the two little ones are for the small hose up into the turbo, so you don't need to worry about that. But then of these bigger ones, there are two different sizes. So if you look at the side, this one, there are three that are 60 to 80mm. And then there's one that is 50 to 70mm. So this is the hose that requires the two different sizes. So the end of the hose that goes on to the intercooler requires one of the big 60 to 80s, and then that other end is for that one randomly smaller one. So just make sure that if you are doing these clips that you use the appropriately sized Jubilee clip. We'll grab this, we'll put it on the end here, and then we'll slide that onto the end of the intercooler. Alright, lovely. That is that clamp nicely tightened down on the Mountune hose, so that is happy days. Next up, we want to remove that Jubilee clip right there at the top that you can see. That is connecting onto the bottom of the throttle body, and that is what we need to remove in order to get our next boost pipe out to replace it with the Mountune one. Now this is most likely best done from the top of the vehicle, like I am currently looking at it. It is quite a tight little space. Again, just use whatever tool you can to get that clip off and then remove it from the bottom of the throttle body. So this is what I had to resort to get at the right angle with that. It was just a really awkward sort of angle that it was put in at. Alright, now we need to loosen the hose on the other end. So that is right here on the other side of the intercooler. Again, same size, flathead or 7mm socket. So this one was a little awkward to get out. Had to use a trim tool just to pry that end off of the end of the intercooler, just because I couldn't really get enough leverage on my own. But yeah, all good. So what you can see here is the stock pipe is, well, it's just a rubber pipe. It's got this little plastic section which joins to a coupler which couples onto the throttle body, and you can see that the Mountune piece completely gets rid of that, and it completely gets rid of the restriction of that because it's quite thin versus the Mountune, which actually opens up there at that point going into the throttle body. So yeah, I mean, less clips, more simple, more open design from Mountune. Now we can get this in place. We're going to use two of the biggest Jubilee clips that we have here to secure that onto both the intercooler and to the bottom of the throttle body. Alright, so just prepping the pipe and the clips. I've got the one that goes into the intercooler just kind of loose there. The one that goes onto the throttle body, I've tightened it slightly just to the degree that it won't fall off the hose, just because we need to push it up from below, and then whenever we do that it would be kind of difficult to get the clip on there, especially if it was loose. So if it's there, just whenever we get up there, then it'll be pretty handy. So I've orientated it to what I think will be the most convenient way that I want it to be for tightening. So yeah, time to get this up into the car. Alright, well that is the cold side boost pipe in place. So now we just need to tighten down those hose clamps. Alright, I got the clamp onto the hose end that is on the throttle body. Not gonna lie, it's a pretty difficult little area to work with. It's quite cramped, it's hard to get your tools in there. But yeah, it's in there, it's tight, it's looking good, it feels good. And so then I just need to get the other Jubilee clip done on the other end of the intercooler. And then at that point, we're able to get our hard pipe back in, and then that'll be the boost pipes in. Alright, hard pipe then. So of the two clamps that we have left, the bigger one we need to slot on the end of the pipe to the left hand side of the car that goes into the intercooler, and then the small one then is one that clamps onto our hose that goes to the turbo. So then also don't forget you've got the couple of little 10 mils. We'll concentrate on getting the hard pipe into the silicone first, and then we'll tighten everything down. Alright, that is our boost pipes fully installed. So now all we need to do is get the splash guard and the under tray back on, and then we will be installation complete. Alright, getting this in should be pretty simple. We simply just slide this front edge back in the way that we slid it out, and that is the first bit, and then we will line up these side bits just right here at the edge of the bumper, and then we should be good just to put the fixings back in place. Alright, so whenever you're doing the splash guard reinstallation, just remember all of these black bits here of the splash guard need to be on the other side of this blue, okay? So this currently is not in the right position, so you also have the bit around here which needs to be on the other side of the blue. Also, you want to pull the blue of the bumper out this way in order to do the under bit, and then once you've done that, just do a similar kind of thing and do the inner bit, and then you should be good to go. Alright, so when everything is back in place, you can get your fixtures in at the edges. Once we get these done at the side, the two on either side, the little push pin and the T30 Torx, then we go along the underside, the rear of the splash guard, and do the rest of the T30 Torx screws, and that will be the splash guard on. Right then, the under tray is the last piece of the puzzle. We just slide it in. You got to get these little tabs. There's one there and one on the other side. You just slide them over a little bit of metal that's in the appropriate place. Then the only other thing to note, make sure that you line these two middle ones up for their respective push pins before you start putting in Torx screws. And then it's just fairly plain sailing. Just put all the fixtures back in, and that's it. There we go, all buttoned up, installation complete. Well, there we go, that is the installation finished of the boost pipes from Mountune on my Focus RS. Installation was not too difficult, just some fiddly bits mainly around getting access to Jubilee clips. If you stick with it, take your time, use the right tools, you'll get there in the end. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. Please do like, share and subscribe for more content to come very, very soon. Thank you once again. Goodbye.